Hey folks, and all be all here, and we are back with another video, the beginning of week two this time. Before we get in, just a quick look at the way that we are grouped currently in the system. So if you go into my ranking section of the leaderboards and you check out your own rank, my rank, for example, is 2281 in Kaibo 1. The way that CG is currently grouping us together is according to our ranks in the leaderboard. Now they say that's not the way that they're doing it; that there are other factors. But if you take a look at the people around you and your actual group, it's exactly the same. Like for example, me, the ones immediately following me are Lena, Ben 810, Marchi, Ave, Alamode, Vegas Plagueis, all the way to Sap Todd. And if I go and take a look at my current group, that's exactly the people I am matched up with: Lena, Benetton, Marchi, Ave, Alamode, and then Saptag. So that's the way, at least that it's one easy way for you to figure out who you're going to get matched up with while you're in the 1 day signing up phase. What you have to do is just take a look at your rank, divide that by 8, get to the because each of us is grouped in pods of 8, get to the nearest pod of 8, and then after that start counting out the number of people who are there, and all of those people should be in the same pod. So that's currently at least the way that it's set up. They may decide to change it in the future, but at least for now, you can get a good idea of who you'll be ranked up with if once you hit the sign up phase. So that's something which I found a little useful to know. All right, now coming on to my current opponent, Ala Mode. My current opponent is from the guild Rebel Force Mandalore. He's got the same skill rating as me, which means he's also gone 2-1 in the first week. And pretty evenly matched in terms of GLs itself. You can see over here he's got 5 GLs, all ultimates, and about 4 of them with the R8. As of the lock for second week, I've got my ultimate on Lord Vader as well. So I've also got exactly 5 GLs, just like my current opponent. And I've got I don't have C at the moment, and my opponent does not have Ray at the moment. But otherwise, it's pretty evenly matched in terms of GLs. But if you, I almost missed this, but then I decided to just check his unaligned force users just to see if he's got the new shiny toy Star Killer, and my opponent does have it. He's at R5, and all of his surrounding characters required to get Star Killer, like Mara and Kyle Katarn and all of those others, Dash and all that. All of those guys also are at R5 as well. So my opponent has light veiled on the newest toy, Star Killer, and has him at R5. There are not many people in the game right now who have Star Killer relicked up. I believe I saw a statistic that only about 220 or something folks in the game have a relic Star Killer. So I was pretty excited to for this particular match. I was hoping to run into Starkiller on defense somewhere, and it's I checked that this particular Starkiller does not have any Omicron, so it might not be the final absolute beast version of Starkiller that most of us will end up seeing in the future. But I was still excited to see what kind of team what kind of team I might see on defense, and what I might need to take in to counter it. So that's something I was a little excited about. Let's see if my opponent decides to keep it on defense as well. Starkill itself has got a really unique kit. And especially in GAC, he becomes a beast, almost like a GL. He can kill GLs. He can, defend himself against at least some of the older GLs as well, pretty well. Especially once he gets for some of his Omicrons, he can give up to plus 70 speed to his surrounding characters. His unique is almost like a leadership where it forces you to get a certain alignment and faction into him. One Sith, one Jedi, one dark side unaligned, one light side unaligned. And once you get this whole team together, they get a lot of additional bonuses based on his unique. So that's pretty neat. And especially if he has his second unique Omicron on it. He does a ton of damage. For every buff that he dispels, he deals 100% more damage, and it can get it can make it gives a lot of bonuses to him and the rest of his teams. And I've seen some footage. I'm sure all of you must have checked it out as well, of him defeating. In an EP team, especially defeating SLKR, Sith Eternal, and I think the best team that he's going to be on is probably going to be EP and Mara Jade, who fulfill the Sith and the dark side unaligned Force user requirements. And then you pair in a light side Jedi, like maybe Plo or Mace or GK or someone like that. And then you plug in a light side unaligned Force user, like Visas Mar, for example, and you've got yourself a heck of a team, both for defense and offense. I think that probably is going to be the team of the future. But let's see what my opponent decides to do without an Omicron on it. So yeah, that's just the description of the Omicron. So even without the Omicron, which this particular ability, there is much conflict in you, it still gives so much more critical damage, health, protection, and 35 speed plus immunity to daze and stun. Now that ability by itself is extremely valuable and something which we might not realize the value of it until we actually go up against it. You can't. It's like every single character is like a Jedi Knight. Jedi Knight Luke or like Jedi Knight Revan can't be stunned, and immunity to daze is like they always have a guard on them. So pretty neat skill over here, right there. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the actual matchup itself. Before we get into the match, I wanted to talk very briefly about a particular concept of effective number of GLs that you have. Now, when you get matched up with the opponents right now in this day and age, it's very possible for you to get matched up with someone way beyond your roster. You might end up having a 1 GL, 2 GL, in some cases 3 GL disadvantages as well. But you should not be looking at GP and GL numbers to compare yourself with the opponent, because there's a lot of skill and a lot of other aspects of the roster which comes into play when you're comparing with your opponent. So I'm going to take a slight detour for about 5 minutes to talk about this concept of effective GL comparison. And after that, I'll get into my GAC match. So if you want to go to my GAC match, feel free to skip ahead 5 to 10 minutes. But I'm going to go ahead and take a slight detour. All right. Now, effective GL count. What do I mean by this? Now, my current opponent, for example, when I take a look at his roster, the very first thing that a lot of us do is take a look at how many GLs they have and how many GLs you have. Both of us in this particular case have got exactly 5 GLs. All of us have got ultimate on those 5 GLs as well. Now, but this is not enough for you to compare, because there are other factors which go into determining how effective a player is. And one of the other factors is how many of the GLs can you counter using off-meta counters. Now, there are arguably after the change to the GL's skill set has come across, there's a limited number of options which can actually counter a GL, but those options do exist. You've got Grievous, who can go ahead and counter Jedi Master Luke, relatively weak Jedi Master Luke team, and as well as Sith Eternal team pretty well. You've got Gas, who can counter certain elements of Rey teams, as well as weak non-cat Gas teams, non-cat Jedi Knight, Jedi Master Kenobi teams. You've got Revan, who can, along with JKL, can counter SLKR teams, especially with Old Ben Bastian and Hermit Yoda. You've got Starkiller, the latest craze, who is capable of countering quite a few at least the older GLs. You've got EP, who combined with Mara Jade can take out some of the newer GLs as well. Maybe I think I've seen videos of Rey as well as Jedi Master Luke being countered by EP, Mara, and Vader. And then you've got Maul as well, who can take out certain Sith and Eternal teams as well, especially with Watt and Django in there. So we've got a certain number of teams, and you need to be familiar with some of these counters. And a lot of these counters, some people might not have the rosters developed, or they might not have the actual skill set or practice in actually countering these GLs. But getting that knowledge is actually something which will really help you. And the way that I like to think about it is, apart from the number of GLs that you have, each GL that you can counter with an off-meta counter that you don't have to use your own GL for, that's an additional point in your advantage. So me, for example, I'm going to take in my Jedi Knight Revan team as well as my General's Grievous team. Those are the two teams that I usually tend to keep on offense. So I feel comfortable countering at least two GLs, countering and cleaning up two GLs with an off-meta counter. So I don't need a GL to counter a GL. So that's plus 2 points in my code. When I take a look at my opponent's history, my current opponent, I see that they usually take a GL against another GL. They've almost never in the last two seasons of 5v5 used an off-meta counter to counter a GL. So in this case, I would give them 0 points because their GLs are either being placed on defense or being used to counter other GLs. They're not really using other parts of the roster to counter GLs. So 0 points over there. The other thing to consider is what are the other A teams that you need a GL to counter. Now there are a lot of teams that people non-GL teams which are really top of the line, which people don't feel comfortable taking a non-GL against. They have to take a GL to counter those, like GAS, for example. I know there are quite a few counters to GAS like CLS and all of that, but a lot of people right these days feel comfortable taking a GL against a GAS or a CLS. Me personally, I tend to, especially if the CLS is in the bottom zone, I tend to be cautious and try to take a GL against it. Otherwise, if I have a General Grievous, that is also something that can counter it. A lot of people feel comfortable taking GLs against SLKRs, especially if with Mara J, the SLKRs are the Darth Revan, for example, is too fast with not with Mara Jade, but with the Emperor's, what's the other one? I forgot the name of the character, but she helps to add 20 speed to Sith teams. Darth Talon, that's the one. And a lot of people, if they find that the troopers can't outspeed that, they'd like to go in with an SLKR or some other GL against it. Starkiller teams also, if you see them on defense, a lot of people are going to feel comfortable taking GLs against it, and really, good GL teams. And then you've got newer characters with Omicrons like Zam and Qui-Gon Jinn, which can be countered by non-GL teams like Bad Batch and so on and so forth, and some amount of GOs and all of that. But if you, especially if they're new and people don't feel comfortable, or if they don't have their Bad Batch developed, or they don't have the right counters developed, they would tend to overkill and go with a GL against those. So what you also have to do is count the number of teams that your opponent has, which are non-GLs, which you feel you might have to take a GL against, and then you subtract 1 point for that. So for my current opponent, for example, I personally feel that if my opponent has to keep because I've got a counter for everything else. My opponent does not have Omicrons on Zam or Qui-Gon Jinn. For the GAS, I'm going to take my CLS on offense. For the CLS, I'm going to take my Grievous on offense. And for the Darth Revan squad, I can take my troopers to get the job done. I calculated the speeds. I'm going to be able to maintain the turn meter train. But for the Starkiller team, since my opponent has a Starkiller, I don't know if I'll be able to counter that using a non-GL team. So I might have to take a GL against that. So that's why I've kept -1 for under my column for that. For my opponent, if I take a look at his history, he always tends to use a GL against Darth Revan as well as GAS. So I'm planning to keep both those teams on defense and hope that my opponent takes a GL against those. I don't have Starkiller, obviously, so my opponent doesn't have to worry about that. But that's a -2 score for my opponent in terms of GL counters required for non-GL teams. So if you add everything up, my effective GL count is about 6 and my opponent's effective GL count is 3, just because they feel less comfortable countering GLs with off meta and they feel the need to counter a non-GL team with a GL. Their effective GL count is effectively +3 and mine is +6. So even though both of us on paper have the same amount of GLs, +5, +5, just by the way that we use our rosters, the way that we are able to, use our rosters, my effective GL count is 3 more than my opponent's. So don't get discouraged when you see an opponent who's got, like, say, 1 GL or 2 GL more than you. That's not really what we mean when we talk about a GL disadvantage. A real GL disadvantage is also, you have to consider the other two factors. Is your opponent also using off-meta counters to counter GLs? And is your opponent comfortable enough using off-meta counters to counter some of these other A teams, or do they feel compelled to take in a GL against some of those teams? Because that's when you factor in these two aspects as well, then you get to the real effective GL count. And if you still have a disadvantage against your opponent even after making these adjustments, then you really are the underdog. Otherwise, if your score, if effective GL score is more, then even if your opponent has more GLs than you, then it's more or less an even match. So what do you need to do to get a more effective GL count? Obviously, you can increase your number of GLs, but not everyone has the resources to do that. You can learn off-meta counters to GLs, and there are tons of videos out there. I'm actually going to be putting out another video. The next video of mine is going to be a video focused on that. You can learn some of these off-meta counters. You can start practicing them and get more comfortable with them, or you can if you feel that you're currently taking in GLs against non-GL teams, learn how to counter them with better teams. So if you need to put in omicrons on the right characters, if you need to mod your characters a certain way, go ahead and do that so that your effective GL count increases, because then you'll be able to counter more and more things with your non-GL teams. So that's how you should be thinking about the new GAC, especially now that we're not being matched on GP or our rosters anymore. We are just being matched according to a win ratio. You need to really amp up your skill level for increasing your effective GL count. All right, so that's all I had on this topic. Okay, so going ahead with the current match, let's go and take a look at what defenses we have set. Now, you can see over here, my opponent has already had a chance to go. So we have in the front, what I decided to do was go really, really heavy on defense. Going through my opponent's history, I saw that in the past, they'd usually kept 4 or 5 GLs on defense, 4 GLs usually. But in the last week of since the new GAC started, they saved all of their GLs on offense and went really, really light on defense. So I sort of flipped the script on them and decided to go really, really heavy on defense. I kept 4 of my GLs on defense just to counter some of that offensive heavy strategy that my opponent has. 2 of those GLs I kept down south, SLKR and Jedi Master Kenobi, with Cat this time, not with Jedi Knight Anakin. And then I kept Gas as well as Darth Revan. And you can see over here, my Darth Revan took 2 battles, so I think he must have tried to do an off-meta counter given the number of GLs that he saw. And when that failed, must have gone in with a GL to counter that. So 1 GL with the Darth Revan, 1 GL against the Jedi Master Kenobi, I'm sure. And then I think he shifted to the top zone after that, and then couldn't clear the rest of the bottom zone, which is gas, and he didn't even attempt the SLKR. So gave up on this zone, and then up north at the top zone, I had another 1 GL waiting for him, which is going to be the Lord Vader. I put him with Darth Vader along with 3 other tanks, and then I put a Maul team. I put a Darth Maul team with Nest in there, and then I put a BAM team, all of which for 1 shot, not a problem. And then at the back, I knew my opponent always saves Executor for offense, so I decided to keep both Executor as well as Negotiator on defense. And he struggled 4 battles against the Executor, and I had exhausted all ships by that point and couldn't clear the Negotiator as well. So both those zones held, only 1 zone cleared. At the back, I had saved another GL in case my opponent decided to. I learned from last time, since I'd kept a weak back zone and I lost because of that. So I decided to save a surprise GL at the back as well, because my opponent would have then spent all their GLs in the front to try to get through over here, and then wouldn't have been able to clear this zone, along with a Dash team and a Kyle Katarn Mon Mothma team. Okay, so that is my defense, and now let's take a look at what my opponent has set for me. So it's kept a gas at the top, so the rest of them were pretty easy teams. Really nothing much to worry about, but I have to do something about that gas since I just have 1 GL on offense and I need to save a GL for the back. And then I've got over here, I've got BB-8 with Grievous, which means I can't use Bad Batch. I've got a new team. I've got Padme, which is a pretty decent Padme team with Shakti and Kenobi and R2 for the stat sharing. And then I've got Darth Talon along with Darth Revan. So let's go ahead and get started with the attacks. Now, I did some calculation and I decided to go ahead with my Night Sister counter because I didn't think I would have anything else available. Bad Batch has got a very poor record against BB-8 Grievous teams. Night Sisters can get a little dicey, but as long as you stagger the deaths and don't have multiple people dying in the same turn, and which causes Grievous to take multiple turns at the same time, as long as you avoid that, it's pretty okay. It's pretty manageable, this particular counter. So I'm trying to stagger the damage that I'm doing, and I'm trying to make sure that I have Daka's revive ability off cooldown at all times. And then I make sure that not more than one sister is dead at a time. If two sisters are dead, then I immediately use Daka's revive ability and revive everyone. So here you can see Plague has spread everywhere, and these guys are pretty light. This counter can go sideways very easily, but I wanted to. I really didn't have anything much for countering Grievous with BB-8. I didn't want to waste my Jedi since I felt I might be able to. I might need them later on. So here you can see two quick deaths, but I did get one revive in the middle. My cooldown is off. My revive is off cooldown, and luckily Grievous over here targeted Zombie and not Daka. Which is why I was able to get them back twice again. Another death, and I'm able to get them back again, and now the battle is very much under control. So this counter always gets dicey, but that's the best thing about Plague is that if you stun Grievous, even if it's below 100% health, he remains stunned. So as long as you don't get a little unlucky, this is the best way to handle Grievous BB-8. And it ended up helping me save my Bad Batch, which is actually a premium team now and can be used to counter something else. All right. Then I decided to use my troopers against a Darth Revan team. I did some calculations and I made sure that the turn meter train is faster than my enemy's Darth Revan squad. Enemy's Darth Revan is 331 speed, which means after the Talon bonus, they're at 351. And the way that and my Veers is going to make my Piet about 356. So 336 is my Veers. And then the rest of my troopers, they have been clocked accordingly so that they help to bridge that gap. Okay, so very first thing, since there's no taunting tank over here, I immediately go after HK so that I can use my ranges bonus protection ability. So that guy is taken care of in one battle, and now I use the ranges ability and try to get rid of Basti as soon as I can. No AoEs yet. And then now I need to clear out Malak, because I believe Darth Talon has got an ability where if you kill Darth Revan once or kill the Sith leader once, he gets revived with an extra 100% health. So I wanted to make sure that Malak is not around to do any funny shenanigans if that happens. So I decided to get rid of Darth Revan over there. I don't really remember why he didn't revive back, because I thought under Darth Talon's ability, he revives back. All Sith leaders revive back with 100% health. Maybe it's an ability that's a Zeta that hasn't been upgraded yet. I need to check that out. But yeah, that ended up not happening. And then I felt I could afford to use a CLS against the Padme squad. I didn't know whether my Treya squad will be able to get this job done, because the Shakti was really fast, faster than my Thrawn. If my Thrawn was the fastest on this team, I'd have probably used Thrawn with Treya and the rest of the Sith trio to take care of this squad. But didn't want to take a risk with Shakti in there. So I decided to use my CLS against this, which is a pretty easy counter. All you need to do is get rid of, avoid any assist abilities on Anakin, stun him first, get rid of him when you can, and then keep using all your abilities on General Kenobi so that um, so that you resist, he resists, and then your whole team gets turn meter. So that's what I'm doing right now, just trying to get as much turn meter as possible. And then I am also doing AoEs from the Chewies whenever I can, because those AoEs are what will do the damage. And those AoEs, especially if you target them at General Kenobi, the other people in the enemy team will not have any assist targeted towards them, so they should be able to die pretty easily. And then what you need to do is get to 3 stacks of translation as soon as you can, so that every time C3PO does his basic, the cooldowns get reduced, and you end up cycling through your abilities much faster. So again, all I'm doing is trying to gain as much turn meter as possible. And then with this ability, I try to take care of Shark, but it's not enough damage. There we go, 1 AoE and Padme is done, and now it's a pretty easy job taking care of these guys. Okay, so that's 65 banners for the Padme team. And then we have the Newt Squad, which I decided to take my Bad Batch against. Now this one is a reasonably hard counter. The Bad Batch squad, apart from Grievous squad, it also handles pretty effectively any Separatist squad as well as First Order squads. It's basically the true damage that they do, as well as the daze and healing immunity that they apply, and the true damage. All of that is basically a really easy way to control the enemy team, especially if it's Separatist or First Order. So that's what I'm doing over here. So yeah, these guys, without taking a single turn, we are able to effectively take care of them. And Newt has gone under stealth, but we did manage to, I think, end with full protection and full health. So he did manage to get a turn off, but there we go. And with this, I think we are able to pass a turn back to Omega, who does the special, which gets tops up everyone's health and protection. So there we go, 65 banners over here, and we are ready to check out what's at the back. So there is one GL at the back. There is a Lord Vader team. Unfortunately, no Starkiller. I was really hoping to run into a Starkiller team, maybe under EP Mara lead, but that wasn't to be the case. So no Starkiller, but there is a Vader squad. So we're it's a good thing that we saved a GL for the back zone. And they've got a TM version of the Mon Mothma squad and a Dash squad, but without any of the prepared scoundrels except for L3 and Kira. So we need to figure out what we want to do against the rest of these squads over here. So let's try to take care of the zone at the top first before we come down south. So what I'm going to do is take manage the gas first. The gas is going to be the toughest team out here. So what I decided to do was I decided to take in my bounty hunters, Zam, Omicron. I wanted to try to see if I'll be able to snipe gas before the enemy got to even take a single turn. So I've got my Zam in there, I've got Aura, and they reach the contract really fast under Aura. And I calculated the speed. The effective speed for everyone is much faster than the gas team. So I'll need to make sure that I use the right abilities and I have my Mandalorian's snipe ability ready at the right time, so that I take care of gas and then get the other squads taken down as soon as possible. This is a highly relic team, R8 to R7 on almost everyone, but I felt if I was able to get the turn, a quick turn ahead, I will be able to gain the advantage. So you can see over here, gas did counter, and Fives also gained turn meter when 501st was attacked, but I'm already at 80% of my contract. And you can see over here 90%. And at this stage, this is when I had to make a decision. You can see over here the enemies, I'm at 90% and I need to use just one ability from Grief to get to 100% contract. And then my Mando is about to take a turn. He's at really close to 100%. But if I see the enemy turn meter, the gas is close to 100% as well, and Rex is also close to 100%. So I had no way of knowing who is going to go first at this point of time. So what I decided to do was I decided to use Grief's second special, which gives some amount of TM to get to bump up my Mando's TM by a little bit to allow him to go next, so that he can snipe General Skywalker because he would be at contract at that time. So that's what I did. I used Grief's second ability, and Mando was at full TM, but Gas got to go next, and then Rex got to go, did his form up, and then it all went haywire, and the whole team got taken out without me even getting a single turn. And because there's no revives with Gas, Mando didn't even get a second chance to stand up. So really disappointing. I must be doing something wrong. I need to practice that counter a little more because I have seen it work. Maybe I need to increase the speed of my BAM so that he gets to go the second time before Gas gets to use his ability, his first ability. Gas or Rex gets to use the first ability. So I have to figure out the exact mechanics of that in order to get my Mando to go twice before the enemy team gets a chance, before the enemy Rex gets a chance to go, because by then it's literally too late. So little disappointed that that counter didn't work, but at least we learned something. We know that I'm already at 504 banners to 616 for my opponent, so I have. I just need to clear a couple of zones, and I've won, and that's more than likely what's going to happen anyway. So this is a good chance for me to experiment and test out a few things. So you know that I'm probably not going to take my Zam and Aura against Gas anymore. It's a very touch and go counter unless you've got relics on everyone, and they can survive and take a few hits, and if you've got the turn meter right. So I probably won't use that. But what I did decide to do was, given that I've just put my Omicron on Qui-Gon Jinn, I decided to test it out to see if Qui-Gon Jinn is going to work against this team. And even though it's a turn meter loaded Gas, I decided to take in my Qui-Gon Jinn with Anakin, just to see whether these guys are able to do a decent job against Gas. I need to be able to time the hits properly so that I kill the enemies at the right time when Gas is sitting down. But it was a good test to do in any case. I've got Cam in there to give some additional speed and offense bonuses. And because Qui-Gon Jinn and Grandmaster Yoda are support characters, they have extra offense that Cam's unique provides to them as well. And if Qui-Gon Jinn dies, a lot of the offense that he has from the unique of Cam will get translated over in the 400% offense boost that he will give then to all other teams. And I'm hoping Jedi Knight Anakin will then go crazy and start one-shotting characters. So let's see if Qui-Gon Jinn, where Zam Omicron failed, whether Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron is going to succeed against a preloaded Gas team. So the whole team gets to go first, but this team definitely has survivability, both due to Qui-Gon Jinn's unique, as well as due to Barriss in there, who heals the characters with every crit that they do. So you can see over here, they are trying to take down, they're not targeting Qui-Gon Jinn, luckily. They're trying to take my team down. I'm trying to go ahead and apply a few armor shreds over here. I think what do I do over here? I try to take Gas down as soon as I can so that I can start targeting fives, because that's going to be important for me to take fives down and prevent the creation of super clones. And luckily, Qui-Gon Jinn the AI is not smart enough to target Qui-Gon Jinn yet. So I'm avoiding doing any AoEs right now. I'm trying to take down fives because I don't want the clones to die accidentally. And these guys are hitting hard, but luckily I'm so far saved due to Qui-Gon Jinn's Omicron. But Gas has gotten up, so I need to go and make sure that Gas is down again. Again, Qui-Gon Jinn almost died, but luckily saved by some of the bonuses that he gets. Now, I'm trying to get Yoda is really good in there because every time that these guys have foresight, Qui-Gon Jinn's leadership with his Omicron gives them extra double the offense that they have. So that's one reason why it's really good to have Hoda in there or Grandmaster Yoda in there because these guys get offense when someone dies, or they get foresight when someone dies, and they also get foresight when Grandmaster Yoda does his big spread buffs ability. So that's one reason why I had Grandmaster Yoda in there, and I needed to make sure that I had all Galactic Republic, which is why I didn't get in someone like Hoda or someone like that. All right, so the second time that Gas is sitting down, surprisingly, Qui-Gon Jinn is still alive at this stage, which is really interesting to see. But with a 100k hit, Qui-Gon Jinn is taken out, but immediately Annie takes a turn and he's able to one-shot Gas for like I think 150, 200k. I didn't really see that. Let me see if I can fast forward to the exact point to see how much Annie hit Gas for, because I want to see how much of the offense really carried forward. I think that is 400k non-crit, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that must be it. 400k non-crit, which is pretty awesome to see. So, pretty impressed with Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron. It's definitely going to remain on offense because if your opponent especially has got good bad batch, then it's a waste to throw Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron on defense because he can take care of some really, really tough squads that you don't have to waste a GL against. I've seen the Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron beat Darth Revan's Gas and a couple of GLs as well, which I think is probably going to be fixed. But yeah, pretty decent job over there. So now this is a B bounty hunter team with Dengar lead. That just reduces a little bit of damage. It's not, but not really that great. So I decided to take in my Geos against it because just like Night Sisters, Geos are a great flex squad to have on offense. They've got tons of survivability, tons of TM generation, and not really that great for banners because in most cases you might end up with 60 banners instead of 65, but it's good enough. It gets the job done at least against some of these B teams these days. So. So yeah, now that the main team Gas is taken care of, I'm trying to polish off some of these other B-level squads. Let's see, what else do I have? I've got, I decided to use EP Mara Jade against the Finn squad. Now, this is not a very scary Finn squad. They're at G12, the heroes, but the amount of offense and defense bonus that hero Finn that Finn lead OG Finn lead gives, you want to keep this team under check at all times. Otherwise, they can get pretty hairy. So I decide to take an EP Mara over there because they're a really great control team. You've got both Gideon as well as Tarkin for some turn meter reduction, and I decided to take in Krennic over here, given that I just relic Krennic up for getting my EP, my Emperor, or my Sith Eternal Emperor. Krennic is great in this team because he's another source of turn meter reduction. He has an AOE, he has a AOE stagger, which you can then pop, just like Mara has got a stagger as well. So you've got two sources of stagger. You've got two sources of turn meter reduction in Tarkin and Gideon, and then you've got a TM train going with the EP lead and with Mara Jade. So it's a pretty effective team to keep the enemy team under control. So I'm definitely going to be seeing how much more it can punch above its weight in future GAC matches. All right, so that team is taken care of, and then we have the Phasma squad over here, which is again a relatively weaker squad. I still have my JTR over there, so I decided to take in the JTR against that. And this one is a pretty standard counter. There's really nothing much to it. JTR would have probably taken out a lot of other teams as well, but this one is fine for it. I actually miss using Scavenger Ray and Resistance Trooper. Those guys do so much of damage, and especially Resistance Trooper with the ability to apply exposures on his basic. That really generates so much of TM for the JTR team. So even if you feel you have to use your heroes with your Ray, your GL Ray, you've got the makings of a really good squad on offense when it comes to JTR, with BB-8 and R2D2 providing tons of bonuses. You have a few other characters like JT like Scavenger Ray and Resistance Trooper who do tons of damage over here. All right, so top wall is taken care of. Let's go and check out the ship zone. And my opponent has decided to keep the Executor for the very first time in his history. Usually, he always keeps Executor on offense. So I decided to go ahead and take out the Executor with my Malevolence counter. So get in my TIE Fighter pilot, get in my Malevolence fleet, and then target Bosk. That's always the first order of operations. Luckily, the TIE Fighter pilot was taken out. That's probably one of the better case scenarios. You want to do the middle ability first. If the vulture droid has not been targeted, then always use the middle ability first. Then I apply the buzz droids over here, and so far it seems to be going okay. Unfortunately, over here my vulture droid is very close to biting the bullet, and I need a few ships around so that the assist from spy is able to kill whoever is on there. Unluckily, the assist went on the wrong person, the Razor Crest, and not on Xanadu Blood. So I'm in a pretty bad spot right now. I have one spy and one vulture droid that has been summoned, but I haven't taken out any ships yet. So I'm in a bad spot right now. So I'm trying to do what I can to survive till I'm able to get the Ebon Hawk in. And that's what I do over here. I get the Ebon Hawk in. I did catch some luck because my enemy decided to reinforce with the Scimitar and not with the Bounty Hunter ship. So that delayed the application of target lock and delayed the ultimate by a little bit. So that was a little bit lucky on my side. But now there's a Bounty Hunter ship which is out, and he's taking care of my Ebon Hawk. So I need to take care of his Razor Crest and his Xanadu Blood. Those two ships are pretty close to dying right now. So I need to make sure that they're taken care of. And I've lost my spy as well. So not a good position. I have just two ships left, but I am able to reach the ultimate. And then with the special from Hyena Bomber, I'm able to take out Xanadu Blood. And I'm trying to target down and take down Bosk as soon as I can, because even if I have to clean up afterwards, cleaning up without Bosk is way easier than not. So decide to stun Bosk and try to take him out as soon as possible. Bosk is out. And then decide to go after Razor Crest because he's another problematic ship to have on cleanups. And then over here, able to take out the last Bounty Hunter ship as well. And now just a little bit health left on Scimitar. Wasn't able to take him out before Boba came out. So unfortunate over there. And now Boba has got Retribution, which is again pretty sad because every time that I hit him, he's going to be applying target lock. And there you go. The enemy Executor has reached his ultimate because of that. So a little unfortunate, but it's reached a stage where it's pretty easy to clean up. There's only Boba's ship left. There's no other ship out there. So even if I end up losing this match, and yeah, with the heal especially, even if I end up losing, it should be an easy enough cleanup now for the next ship. And the bonus is my opponent ended up not clearing my ship zone, so that ended up helping me out a little bit as well, giving me some buffer. So yeah, so that was a failure, but I would actually count it as a success because I did get it down to a place where it was reasonably easy to clean up. And then I decided to take Empire versus Empire. He's got his 5 ship in there, which is typically meant to be an anti-rebel counter, because what it does is if you 5 ship goes and applies target lock as a first ability and then gets the Imperial TIE Bomber taunting right away, and that makes it problematic for for the enemy ships to focus and target down the TIE bomber, the TIE Advanced. But for a mirror, it really doesn't matter at all. Tarkin ship gives tons of offense to Empire, so I'm able to melt these guys pretty easily. Call in my Emperor shuttle and then heal up my Vader because he was about to die, and then I just have to take care of the rest of the ships over here, and then I should be good to go. So Palp ship in there, and I put some offense up on everyone, and yeah, with one final hit I should be able to take care of Palp ship, and the battle is done for 67, which is the in the old scoring system that would have been a 60. So let's take care of the remnants of the executive fleet. I just took in my rebels since I still had them, and decided to quickly clear this for whatever max banners I have. I probably didn't need all 3 ships, but that's fine. So ship zone is done. At this point, I've already secured victory, so I wanted to try a few things out. This one was actually the Dash team. It he tends to take this was a really fast dash. It was a relic up and he went really fast even before my 322 speed Thrawn. But immediately after that, my Thrawn got to take a turn, and once I landed the isolate on L3, it's game over. This team is doing surprisingly large amounts of damage. I just kept in a Savage in there just for extra insurance. I didn't really need him. Just my Sith trio with Thrawn is more than enough. And this is a relatively weak Dasher and our squad, Scoundrel squad. So really nothing much to worry about. Both Kira as well as Nest were G12. If it was a full prepared squad with the Omicron on Dash, it would have been really, really complicated. It would have been really tough. But maybe I think Treya might still have been able to get the job done. But not before maybe these guys would have done tons of damage. What it would have been helpful over there in that scenario would be to isolate L3 again, annihilate a young Han when you can, and then kill Vandor with as much physical damage as you can. So that's, I think, going to be my plan if I run into a Dash Rendar team in the future with Omicron and with all the prepared scoundrels in there. I'm probably going to try a version of the Treya Thrawn team over there as well, because I think that might do a decent job. Yep, it'll depend, how well modded the team is, what kind of whether they're able to focus down on my Treya or not. But I think as long as you get a pre-taunting tank in there and then Thrawn for the fracture and then the Sith trio, I think it should be decent enough to counter a Dash team with Treya. All right, now we have the TM version of the Mon Mothma team with Kyle Katarn, and this team goes really fast and starts their own TM train. So what you need is you need to interrupt that TM train with your own version of a TM train. And since I had Grievous with me, I'm keeping Grievous on offense at all times these days. I have Grievous with me. I just ended up using that to get my own turn meter train rolling, and it actually ends up doing a pretty damn good job. I mean, I was surprised at how effectively Grievous was able to control these guys, because Mon Mothma is supposed to be a counter to Grievous. But, the TM version of this train with Kyle Katarn, these guys barely got any turns at all. Mon Mothma did manage to get a revive off, but with all the buff dispelling that B2 is doing and all the target locks on the enemy team, I'm able to generate so much of turn meter over here. That's it's really amazing. Plus with Newt in there spreading extortion, and Newt also has this really unique ability which gives him, which has the ability there where he he enables separatists to do a percentage health damage based on the debuffs that they apply. That's I believe a Zeton is unique. So and the separatist squad keeps applying so many debuffs that the team literally melts with Newt in there, which is why I never like to separate Newt from Grievous in 5v5. All right, now final squad left. There's a GL Vader with Maul in there, and both Maul as well as Lord Vader are R8. And they've got 3 tanks in there, which makes it slightly tricky. And I don't really have much left. I have my own Jedi Master Luke available, and I've got so I decided to use this particular version of the team. I've climbed an arena a few times with this particular version. It's important in this version. You basically need to have a couple of things when you're countering Lord Vader with Jedi. You need to have one big damage dealer. In my case, I have Jedi Knight Luke. You can also get Cam in there. Jedi Knight Luke is a little better because he also applies stun on everyone, and he does triple damage on Lord Vader, which is really useful towards the end. And he can't get stunned, and he can give that ability which causes a Jedi to counter. Cam is great as well with the double tap on the basic. You also need a couple of healers. So I've got Shakti in there as well as Hoda in there to give healing, and Hoda for also the additional buff Jedi training. And then you also need a couple of cleansers. Now Hoda can cleanse on his Master's training ability, but the AoE cleanse of Jedi Knight Revan as well as Shakti is extremely important over here, because your team will be riddled with dots, and you need to be able to cleanse those as much as possible. So that's what I have over here. I've got always when I'm using Jedi Master Luke to counter Lord Vader, I have to have Shakti and Jedi Knight Revan in there. Those guys are really helpful to in order to enable your team to survive, so that your Jedi Master Luke can reach ultimate. Because that's the goal of this team. You have to reach your ultimate with your own Jedi Master Luke as soon as you can, before too many people die on your team. Because people are going to die. You're not going to have enough cleanses on this team. People are going to die. But as long as you're able to survive till the ultimate, it should be pretty simple to manage things from there. So the very first thing you need to do when you get Jedi Knight Revan's turn is you need to pass the turn meter over to Luke, Jedi Knight Luke, and do the AoE stun. That buys you a little extra time. You can see over here Lord Vader didn't get stunned, obviously, because it's a GL, and Maul also did not get stunned because he's at 5 stacks, and he doesn't get stunned during that time. But I was at least able to take out 1 tank before they were able to use too many abilities. And Maul ends up using his ability and does tons of damage on my Jedi Master Luke. Keep in mind, my Jedi Master Luke is only R7, though those Jedi Master Lukes with R9 relic on them, they will have absolutely no problem. So here, every time that I get a turn, get a chance to use the middle ability of Jedi Master Luke, which reduces the cooldown, I always use it on Lord Vader. That's extremely important. You want him to use as few specials as possible. So whenever my Jedi Master Luke has got that ability available, I end up using it to reduce the cooldowns on Lord Vader. And I'm after whenever I can, I get a chance, I mark Maul, because he's a problem guy, so I need to get rid of him as soon as possible. Wasn't able to get rid of him before Lord Vader reached his ultimate, but with this AoE, I believe, yes, I get rid of Maul. I still have all 5 of my characters available, which is great. Now I need to just take the other tanks down and then focus all my energy on Lord Vader. So you can see over here, I don't have enough cleanses to go around, and my Jedi Knight Revan is almost going to bite the dust. And there you go, Vader was able to take care of him. So I'm short 1 cleanser, and I don't have the ability to mark anymore. But I need, and I'm still far away from my ultimate, so I'm trying to use as many of my ultimate skills as possible to try to get to ultimate as soon as I can. Very close, but still, still not yet reached it. Now I finally get to use my ultimate. Heal everyone up, or no, I think I passed the Jedi training to my Jedi Master Luke. And you can see over here, I stunned everyone, and Hoda is almost going to die as well. He's got like 9 debuffs on him, so I ended up using the cleanse. And then the good thing about reaching ultimate is the cooldowns of Jedi Master Luke specials is reduced down from 4 to 2. So every other turn he can use his mass ability block and the ability to reduce the turn meter. It might be tempting to use the leadership specials ability, but always when you're facing Vader, you have to alternate between his two specials, his ability block and then his wave, hand wave, to reduce the cooldown, because uh, you don't want Lord Vader to be doing his any of his specials, because they can get really problematic. So that's what I'm doing over here. I'm alternating between his both of his specials. But I want to take down Royal Guard first, and then again reduce the turn meter, or reduce the um, the cooldown abilities of Lord Vader, and then ability block. Just keep alternating between those two. And even though it looks like a dire situation, I've lost Hoda. I'm just 1 minute in, and this guy is almost at full health. And it's looking like a tough situation, because this guy takes a lot of time to get down, even when he's by himself. But you can see over here, Luke's special ability, which does extra damage to the GLs, that actually helped do tons of damage to help get him down. And you know, I'm able to call Luke to assist over there, and with this ability, I think I'm able to take care of him. Yep. So. Uh, Even though there was just 1 minute left, but because of the fact that my Jedi Master Luke had already reached his ultimate, he was able to get the job decently done against Vader. So there you have it. This is the final score. I did manage to full clear. So keeping one GL on offense was effective. I got 1664, not the best. Dropped a battle on gas and a battle on executor, but important thing is I prevented my opponent from clearing me, and was able to do a semi-decent job on offense. Efficiency. I don't like to play efficiency games, especially with the new format of GAC. There's literally no benefit to you full clearing. All that matters is you win against your opponent. So this is a marathon, not a sprint. Only your win-loss record is going to take into consideration in your skill rating. So you have to get out of the old mindset of having to think about clearing, because you don't need to clear. You don't need to clear, and you don't have to. All you need to do is prevent your opponent from clearing, and you need to just get more banners than them. So change your mindset slightly from what you used to see before. Don't feel shy to go heavy on defense. Um, Prevent your opponent from clearing, and then try to just do enough with your roster to just to beat them on banners. You don't have to full clear. All right, so that's it for this session. A little disappointed that I didn't get to see Starkiller on defense. Um, I bet that would have been really good footage, and I bet I would have really liked to see him in action. But that's fine. I'm sure I'll run into him sometime in the future as well. But that's all for me for this round. I'll probably upload another video for this week, depending on which opponent I get. If I get another good one, I might upload another one. But otherwise, the next video that you'll see from me would be GL to GL counter guide. That's something I'm working on, and hopefully, it'll be something which will be useful to a lot of the folks in the community out there. Okay, that's it for today. I will catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in, and happy gaming.